How's it going, guys? Welcome to Audio Addiction. We have Satellite Cities with us, and they can say their names, what they do in the band.
My name's Anna, and I play drums, and I'm also the lead vocalist.
I'm Shant, and I play guitar.
All right. Well, thank you guys for coming on. I want to give a shout out to Eder. She's amazing. Costa Nostra's awesome as well. So if you can go show her some love, please go do it. But glad I had you guys on. I was telling Sean before we started this that I had checked out like a large majority of your catalog on YouTube. I'll leave a link down in the description along with all their other social media if you get a chance. Go check it out. It was definitely something that I was like, let me give this a listen before I have these guys on. So I was delightfully surprised. The music is really good. I will say it's not something that I typically delve into, but I was like, wow, this is actually really cool. And I went back and I checked out Reaper, which was like it happened like 2 years ago. I was like, wow, they were like a lot heavier. And then they switched to like more rock with the two newer songs, Anxious Heart and Trouble Flower. And so I'll probably be asking you a question about that later on, but wanted to know how you guys started out. I am very much a nerd in that aspect, so spare no expense. This is what I do for my free time and fun time. So take all the time you like. But how did you guys kind of formulate it, and how did this whole project come to be?
Cool. You want to start?
Sure, I can start it. So me and Anna, we connected at a cafe in Studio City
Okay.
10 years ago.
Woo.
Probably even more than that.
Probably more than that now. Yeah. And we started dating, and I realized she is a incredible songwriter. And I was in a metal band back then.
Okay.
And well, she told me she was a songwriter and also a drummer, and I was like, oh, cool. Like, which one do you kind of prioritize? And she's like, kind of both. She did both.
I definitely I started out drumming first, and then around the time when we met, I was like trying to I always wrote lyrics when I was younger, but I was trying to like write it with an instrument. So I
Sure.
was learning how to play ukulele. And I have like a whole like solo EP that I put out. It's like ukulele, like very soft acoustic
Wow.
music that we played on. But yeah, so I was like showing him my songs at the time. And then we just started writing together. We were writing a lot of acoustic stuff together, even though like I played drums.
Yeah, I don't know if we really had initial plans to like be a rock band.
Sure. Yeah.
We were just like hanging out, writing songs, and
We played like a few shows, like just like as an acoustic band.
yeah.
And then I think our first single that we like actually, well, the first single was Rock Bottom, I
Right.
think.
So the first song we released was it was for the 100th commemoration of the Armenian genocide.
Wow.
That was in 2015, and that was like it was like world music.
Yeah, we like mixed some Armenian in there.
Yeah.
But it was like actually I wasn't playing drums on that one.
No, you weren't. You
Oh,
were just
okay.
singing. You were just
But
singing.
you did play
and
like
I played some
electric.
guitar. And so we just kind of wanted to see like, okay, like, well, you play drums. How about you start incorporating that into the songwriting?
Yeah.
We were auditioning a few drummers and it wasn't really working out. So I'm like, why don't you just try drumming and singing? Like, I know it's like weird, unorthodox, but like it might bring, some attention.
I was already kind of doing that. I was playing like cajon. I had like a kick pedal
Nice. Okay.
attached to it, and I was like kind of doing that acoustically already, but he convinced me to like actually move on to the drum set and do it. And I think it took a while to like figure out how to pull it off live and just get a good sound live. But yeah, we just kind of ran with that.
Yeah. And we've been at it ever since. And our friends, they dress up in astronaut costumes. They are called spacewalkers.
Yes.
And they join us at our live shows for like a full sound because I just don't like playing as a duo.
Sure. Yeah.
When we play live. So yeah, we've been at it ever since.
Yeah, I thought that was I thought that was probably the coolest thing when I got the email originally. I was like they're married. They have been making music like rock music together, and like obviously Anna plays drums and sings, which is like if you combine all of those things and you look at the email, you're like I
What's
kind
going
of
on?
like I was like, wow, this is a lot, right? And so I kind of went into it with like I want to say like low expectations, but I kind of went into it and I was like, what am I gonna get out of this, right? And so
Mhm.
the first song I listened to was the newest one, which is Trouble Flower, and I was like, I was floored. I was like making dinner and I was like watching the music video and like eating and stuff, and I was like, this is really impressive because obviously, like, I could never do that. I always have aspired to be a drummer, but I feel like my talents are only saved for the air drumming you see in my car when you're driving, you know? So like I
Same.
brain to leg function is just not it's just not there, you know? There's a missing connection there. Um but I was like I was just so enthralled by Trouble Flower that I was like, let me give the next one a listen because I had time. So I gave Anxious Hearts a listen. And I was just like, I'm equally as stoked for this one. And I just kind of kept going backwards in time. And I was like, they got heavier and they were like more like metal. And then this newer stuff's like more like hard rock and stuff. And it was cool to see like the progression because oftentimes, you know, I think bands kind of get into that like mode that they're like, I'm only gonna make metal, and like if I have to like if I have to take my like Viking ship out into the Valhalla and go through it, you know, like that's it. I'm not gonna write anything else. And so I appreciate that you guys shifted because I as much as I love the heavier stuff, I like of course I love metal, but I think there's something about like Trouble Flower and Anxious Hearts that just really resonated with me and that I really enjoyed that much more because I think the songwriting, the way that you guys kind of put it all together, it almost felt like the like light switch went off and you guys like were like this is what we should be doing all along, and like just to get to that process of like finding your sound and really delving in. I think I was pretty surprised at that. How did you guys kind of go through that? Because I imagine you must have had conversations of being like, "Hey, we're doing metal stuff. What if we kind of switch it up and do something different?" Or was it just kind of a natural progression of like, I think we should maybe shift gears a little bit.
I think most of our stuff is like in the hard rock umbrella
Sure, I would
as
agree.
and I feel like every song takes its own like personality.
Hmm.
I feel like the songs we're writing right now, like it might be even heavier than an old song, or like one might be even softer than Anxious Hearts, you know, like it just depends on the song and the mood.
Yeah. And I do feel like Reaper was the heaviest just because we had the featured artist on there
Sure,
and he was
yeah,
um I I agree with him. I think like we just let the song kind of go on its journey, and like as long as it just ends up falling in that rock umbrella on
Right.
its own. So it's like it's rock music, you know?
Yeah, we both like every like subcategory of the
yeah,
genre, whether it's like metal, like hardcore, post-hardcore, metalcore, or like, you know, just hard rock or like blues rock, you know, maybe like some alt rock. So I feel like being inspired by all of that is good because you keep an open mind on your songwriting.
sure, yeah.
So as long as the song takes precedent and like you know like you're writing a good song, I feel like the genre takes a backseat to that.
Sure.
And we wrote these two songs. It was the first time it was a co-writing session for us when we worked on these. And Taylor Carroll, who drums for the band Lit, wrote both
Oh,
with us.
very cool. Okay.
In a band with the drummer from Hailstorm, RJ Hale. So he like hopped on and helped a little bit for Anxious Hearts as well with the writing process. So that also kind of people, you know, bring in a little bit of their style into it and it all fuses together. But I think we still have like the same kind of sound that we started with, just a little bit slightly different, I
Little
would
tweak
say.
tweak a few things here
Yeah.
and there. See what happens, you know.
I hope it wasn't an offense. I feel like for me
Oh no, not at all.
it was kind of like cool to see how I guess like chameleon esque you guys are in the way that like if the song is like okay, well we want to write lyricism or we want to write something that is kind of more so based around that, and then if we do go heavier topic wise, maybe we'll go heavier sound wise, or like if the song requires for it to be like softer, maybe we'll go more in that softer direction. And it was funny you guys pointed out Hailstorm because I feel like the bands that I was thinking like for fans of or stuff like that, because I did check out your Spotify and I was like, I don't know any of these artists that are listed on here. So I don't feel like they're appropriate for what I feel like they go for. And so like the three bands that kind of at least registered with me, I feel like you kind of gave me a little bit of like Avenged Sevenfold, like old school, like especially with some of like the more guitar solo stuff. I was like, there's definitely like a rooted like metal like sound there. I also love that you mentioned Hailstorm earlier because I feel like that's also someone that I feel like you guys kind of encapsulate sound wise. And then maybe a little bit more of an odder pick, but I feel like you also have a little bit of my chem in there. Like I think there's like a little bit of emo, there's a little bit of like more rock stuff that they've done over the years that I feel like you guys kind of like antiquate their sound in a way. And like there was some like the way that like maybe some of the guitar phrasing is or like maybe some of the way that the drumming is set up. I was like, this feels very like my chem inspired as well too. So I feel like those three artists to me like were the ones that I got. What are some that you guys typically get in terms of like I guess similar sound to, obviously not exactly, but like kind of in the realm of?
It's funny that you said My Chem because we just played a show on Friday and we covered a My Chem song. We covered,
Ooh, okay.
yeah,
Nice.
super fun. And Sean's like, we should make that like a part of our set because everyone
I
loves
hate covering songs on stage. And I don't know why. I never liked it as a kid growing up. It's just
Fair
not
enough.
my thing. I like writing and then like performing that. But there was something about playing Helena that was so fun and the energy was just so up there the whole time. I was like, dude, I love this song so much. I'd be down to like just put it in the set.
Yeah.
So My Chem is a big one for us. So
Okay, good.
Like
I'm glad I picked
yeah.
up on that.
guitars, like you're like really influenced by Muse and like growing up.
Yeah, Muse and System, definitely Avenged Sevenfold, their whole catalog. I just grew up with it. The City of Evil is a record that I still put on today, and I'm like,
Same,
Jesus
yeah.
Christ, the guitar work, is madness.
And I grew up just like learning how to sing along to like Paramore records. So like I don't think we really sound like them, but it definitely like it kind of fused in, you know.
I feel
And
that.
then
For sure.
I think there's definitely like I would say like in terms of your vocals, Anna gave me that like I feel like the way that she projects like vocally also is I feel like is reminiscent of what you do. So I wouldn't say like your sound or what you guys do is very Paramore esque and but I would say that in terms of like vocal like styling or at least I think like strength of vocals, I was like this feels very like Haley Williams esque or like Amy Lee kind of like strong vocals like and so that's what I think I really along with just like the instrumentation was something that I stuck hold of where when I was listening to your stuff I was like wow this is really impressive at least from like a vocal and like instrumental standpoint as well so I got to give you a lot of kudos for that um but the next question I have is, I guess, more so a good transitional piece. I know Anna just mentioned Paramore, but how does it feel, Anna, to be a woman in the scene? Because I find that oftentimes it's, at least from my perspective, in interviewing a lot of artists, I feel like it's especially important for like women to be in this like rock and like metal space. How important it is for you to kind of be that sort of representation and like have obviously your voice and your story be known along obviously with Sean as well.
I definitely feel like yeah, we're seeing a lot more female fronted bands, but there's still and this happens so often at shows where
Sure.
people will think I'm like the girlfriend of a band member when I'm performing. And it's just like it comes off slightly offensive. I get it. Like it's
Oh,
usually like a male dominated world, but yeah, no one really expects that, and they also don't usually expect me to be the drummer of the band, even though like we see more female drummers now, but it's still kind of like shocking for people to see it.
Guys and girls come up
And
to you and say that. Like,
right. And
yeah.
and like it's cool to when people do approach me and they're like, "Oh, my daughter just started playing drums. She's like 8 years old, and like I'm gonna like show her this like video of your
Yeah.
performance, inspire her." So that's always like something that like makes me feel good because I'm like, younger kids doing it and seeing like people like doing it as well, like so they're like we can aspire to be that. So
Yeah, no, I would say I think it's really important. I obviously for myself, like I'm not a woman, but I feel like for me, like representation is really big on my end. Like I don't see a lot of like POC people in this sort of space of music as well. So I find that like whenever I have the opportunity to be able to highlight people from all different backgrounds. I think it's like super important. On top of that, like, if there are women and they're a part of the scene, I feel like this is important for them to have that sort of platform or be able to utilize their talents in that way and for other people to see it as not just like, oh man, there goes another Haley Williams here, like I find that that's a little bit, at least from my perspective, I would find it very infuriating. So I can only imagine from your standpoint, it must be pretty difficult. But I'm glad you're offering this opportunity or like for people to see you and be like, hey, like I'm a woman, I'm in this scene, I'm drumming, I'm doing vocals, like I should be known, like and I think that's super important. So wanted to point that out because I think that was really awesome and something that again that what kind of drew me to having you guys on originally was just like the representation of it is really important for me. So love to see that. But I have a perfect segue question for that for people who may not have heard of Satellite Cities, and this might be the first interview they watch from you guys. What song would you recommend to a new listener to check out first to kind of give them an idea of your sound and what you guys do?
My pick would probably be Trouble Flower. I know it's the most
Ooh.
recent single we put out, but I feel like that defines our band pretty well because of like the hard rock vibe and
Hmm.
also like Anna's vocal melodies. I feel like it's the strongest songwriting tune we got.
yeah. I would say Anxious Hearts just because that one like I feel like everyone says it gets stuck in their head. So
I would agree.
I don't
Yeah.
like an earworm, and I think it would make people just want to keep coming back and listening,
I
hopefully.
think both those songs mean a lot to us because it's going to be part of this mental health EP that we're working
Oh,
on.
nice.
And all the songs are going to be just like related to that topic, which is a super important topic for both of us.
We hadn't released music in a while, so it's just like it's
It just
exciting.
feels really good to release music again and to come out with those two songs that mean a lot to us, like message wise. It was a cool feeling.
Yeah, no, I would definitely echo that. I think both of those songs are ones that again, even if I had more time to listen to them, I would listen to them more times just because I kind of enjoy like Trouble Flower is like again the first one I jumped into and I think it was a great start jumping off point because oftentimes whenever I find out a new artist, I love delving into their catalog and really, again, as I mentioned earlier, going through and listening through to the entirety of it. But I do think that both Trouble Flower and Anxious Hearts really kind of give you that like idea of of what you guys are going for and like at least sound wise, I feel like that's what you guys are going to be at least going forward, going ahead, I know that Sean, you just mentioned about like a mental health EP. What kind of drew you guys both to that sort of concept of writing about it? Obviously, I know it's a very important topic to both of you. But what was something that made you initially think like, maybe we should write about this. Maybe this is something we should, talk about, something we should delve into. So, what kind of gave you that initial idea to write an EP about that?
I think just because we've been on such a crazy journey, both of us,
Sure.
we've had our ups and downs mentally, and the lessons we've learned from that is that we need to be proactive, and no one's gonna hold our hand as adults.
Hmm.
And um,
I feel like the pandemic really like forced people to like be alone with their thoughts and like
Yeah.
figure how to face all the things that they were struggling with because you're like stuck at home. You kind of got to deal with everything. You can't like escape and like go out or whatever. Like, and I think the songwriting just naturally went there. And we've talked about the theme in the past with different singles we've released. And like, we feel strongly about that. And I think it just happened where like all the songs were like about that. So we're like,
Sure.
why not just make it in an EP?
Right, for sure. And it's important to like reach out to someone when you're struggling,
Sure.
obviously,
Yeah.
and not just even a mental health specialist, but also being a part of a community and having a sense of community is really important. Just that small things like that add up and help a person's mental health over time. So that's kind of the message we've been trying to convey.
Yeah, no, I think it's extremely commendable as someone who also is really much a mental health advocate as well. I can tell you that like very similarly to you guys, like, my worst time was during the pandemic. I think you oftentimes like are faced with this really trying situation. I think like it ultimately led me to the point of just taking a break from YouTube and not posting anything. And so like I think it really I think oftentimes you see people online, you see me like with a smile on my face, and like there are some days where I feel great and there's some days where I feel really shitty, and I think that it's important for people to kind of own up to those feelings, and that it's valid, and if you have those feelings about certain things in your life, like you shouldn't have to just punch it into
Internal.
your chest, internalize it, exactly. Like, and I appreciate that you guys are, so staunch about talking about that sort of stuff, because I think it's so, at least I think post pandemic, I think it's been more of a relevant topic year over year. And so I appreciate you guys putting a spotlight on it in that way, not in sort of like a negative sense, but I think in a sense that it's like it's okay to own up to if you have struggles, right? And I think that
For
that's
sure.
I think that
Exactly.
that's again extremely commendable, and stuff like that. In terms of like the lyricism for both Trouble Flower and Anxious Hearts, obviously the singles that are out now. What are some of the topics that you guys were delving into with both of those songs?
Yeah, so those songs are definitely just talking about overcoming like, the anxiety and different things that come with it. I definitely like deal with insomnia sometimes when I'm super anxious.
Hmm.
And uh just I mean, Sean has OCD, like he deals with his thing. And we just kind of wanted to talk about like the the anxiety that you feel, and then like realizing you're not alone and you can overcome it, and you have to like face it head on. The music video we did for Anxious Hearts, it was it was to kind of show that in visual form, of like experiencing cerebral reality, where like you have to view your anxiety in front of you, and you
Sure.
put on these like VR kind of goggles, and
Hmm.
face it, because that's like the only way to overcome it, is to like face it head on.
Right. So there's this subcategory of therapy in cognitive behavioral therapy called exposure response prevention, ERP, and which is the same exact concept. If something is making you anxious, in my case with OCD, it's just very heightened anxiety that lingers.
Yeah.
Uh, and in that case, if something is making you anxious, you think about it on purpose over a few times in the day, constantly, and you desensitize your brain to the fears. And by doing that, your brain gets sick of the topic, and you're slowly able to get out of that weird fear loop that your brain puts you in. Um, and the video for Anxious Hearts actually presents that in a super clear way, visually, which is cool because you don't really get to
Yeah.
see that in media, Um, like, what's the last time you've seen OCD portrayed in like TV
Can't
or
remember. Yeah.
right, it's always like the same, like cleanliness, like you got to be clean, you got to be this, and that's like 1% of what OCD really
Sure.
is.
Yeah.
So yeah, I thought it was really cool. Her best friend Rosie directed it, and she came up with the concept, which was awesome.
Yeah. And like And Trouble Flower kind of goes off of like what you said, like people online will like portray themselves a certain way, like life is all like cheery and like I'm like
Yeah,
this
yeah.
like just happy person and really like people are struggling and just keeping it in and you just can't see that sometimes and to know that like other people should know like they're not the only ones because I feel like especially younger kids like sometimes it gets to their head like when
Oh
they
yeah.
see this stuff and they don't know what to do with all that information and they're like why am I like so depressed and these people are like out having fun when that's not always the case so
And that's what gets dangerous, right, with young kids because their brains are still developing.
Sure.
You know, I
Yeah.
think what is it like? Your brain is developing until you're 25 years old or something like that.
I think you're
Um,
right. Yeah.
so yeah, I think it's important for young kids to detach as much as possible from social media because I don't know, effects are detrimental for that for sure.
Yeah, I would 100% agree with that. I think sometimes like uh I think for the longest time I would think about it as like this thing that's like, oh yeah, like it connects me to all of these people and like I think it's interesting to think about it from that perspective of like it is a positive in the way that it kind of connects you to all of these different people and like some of my closest friends live states, countries away, right? And and so I find a lot of appreciation for that. But I also feel like sometimes it could be the loneliest place on earth, where you're like, "Oh man, like no one saw my post. Like that sucks. Like does anybody care about me?" And I think it's like that crazy like internal battle that I think everybody faces where it's just like if you post something, you obviously hope it does well, and I would argue even more so for like bands or like musicians as a whole. It's like I feel like it's like this overarching thing that it's just like you have to post, you have to do this if you want to get to the next show or if you want to do the next thing. Like you have to keep posting about it, and it's like this rat race that has to continue on if you want to be successful or you want your band to do well and stuff. And I'm not detracting from that because I think it's an important thing, but I think like anything else, it can have like a really toxic and a very negative side of things. So I appreciate the fact that again you guys are really open with talking about that and being really honest about it because I think oftentimes like again you look at it from the outside perspective and just see like if I go and scroll through like your Instagram post, I'm like, oh, they're happy, they're doing their thing, it's awesome, they're like in a rock band, that's fucking sick, like that's amazing, and like you only get that like one peer into the looking glass, and I think that I appreciate that you guys are open in that way of like being able to have people have that experience of seeing you, but once they're involved, they're like, hey, like this stuff you like mentally responsible for the things that you consume in the way that you go about it because it can kind of alter the way you think about things or the way that you go about things like emotionally and stuff like that. And so I again got to give you a lot of credit for it, and I would agree that Anxious Heart as well as Trouble Flowers do a great job of representing those types of feelings or emotions in a music video where like it's very like in the background, but I think if you're like really intently looking, you're like, wait a second, there's some sort of like message here that people need to see. And so I don't feel like I appreciate the fact that it's not like super direct and in your face, but like I think if you really
Right.
look at it and you really delve into it and you're like, oh shit, like they're really putting a lot of like deep seated messages into it that they hope that the listener, whoever that they watch, like get into it and really invest. And so again, got to give you the kudos for that and the vision of that because it's it's really difficult to view that and like again come to terms with it in that way, but I also feel like it's like a good opportunity for hopefully maybe like a change of leaf, an opportunity to maybe be like a little introspective.
Right. Wake up call for some people if they need it. Right.
Yeah, absolutely. The next question I have for you guys, because we got really deep into the weeds, and I love that, but I also love having some fun questions as well. Um, what were some of the like artists that you saw maybe like on TV or like you saw like locally to you or something like that, gone to shows, I imagine. What was kind of like the first artist that you saw and you were like, I want to do that. That seems cool. I would love to be a musician. That sounds fun. Are there any artists that come to mind that really inspired you to dig deep and become a musician?
For me, like the first two bands that I really like gravitated towards when I was younger was Nirvana and Green Day. Like
Oh,
just like my siblings, my older siblings had like CDs laying around, and I just picked them up and got really like into that. And then my first rock show was my first show really was the White Stripes when I was like I
ooh.
think 12 years old or something, or like 11 years old. And I was like so stoked to see that. And I think like that definitely like blew my mind. And yeah, my sister was into music too. So we kind of just, she also like helped me find my instrument. But it was definitely inspiring just hearing all that music. And just, I think that's what got me into rock. I'm sure yours was your own thing.
I would also credit my sister in a way because having an older sister and like having them have a good music taste is super helpful. 'Cause she probably introduced me to like System of a Down and Linkin Park,
Ooh.
and I was like, okay, this is fantastic. I want to do this. And then the first band I saw live was Muse at the Greek
Oh.
Theater, with my sister and my dad, and I remember being blown away on that as well. And just Matt Bellamy's guitar playing and songwriting, I was like, holy shit, that's next level. Yeah, and my dad, he's a big rock guy. He introduced me to classics. Like he used to play like Highway Star by Deep Purple in the car for me,
Wow. Okay.
like for repeat, like growing up every day, going to school. So yeah, for sure.
My parents were playing ABBA, which I think honestly helped my songwriting. I freaking love ABBA.
Great
So
songwriters, not gonna lie. ABBA's songwriting is amazing.
Yeah, no, I felt like, and I'm glad you guys mentioned it because I feel like you guys pull from this. I feel like you have like the songwriting ability of like a classic rock band, but I think you guys attenuate it to, you know, obviously your sound and it being more in the hard rock, like metal sort of space. So I did kind of get that initially, but I didn't know if I was like 100%. So I'm glad my intuition was correct on that because it definitely has the like the classic rock bones. And you know, as I also grew up on a lot of classic rock, my dad is like a classic rock head and my mom was more of the like the Beatles, the Beach Boys, like more of the pop, but in the same sort of vein. She likes rock as well, but it was cool. It's cool that you guys are also built from the same bones, you know. So
Uh,
very nice. But the next question I have for you guys is who are you listening to more currently? What's on your Spotify? What have you guys been listening to lately?
Currently, um,
I already know what he's gonna say.
say it, just say
He's gonna say Spirit Box,
Hey.
Bad Omens,
it. Yep, she's not wrong.
Bring Me the Horizon. Like we've always been a fan of their stuff.
You
Um,
missed one though.
oh, Sleep Token.
Oh,
Right,
yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Those three are definitely who I've
Oh, I said
been.
four, but yeah.
Oh, four. Yeah. Yeah, those are some of my big ones. Also, this band from Australia called North Lane.
Oh, I love North Lane. Yeah.
Oh,
Don't get
yeah,
me started.
amazing.
Yeah.
Great. Most recent record, holy shit, so
Oh,
good.
Obsidian's fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah,
Agreed.
that's the one.
Anna, what about you?
Uh, I'm in the same boat like with the ones I listed. We kind of listen to them together.
Nice.
Um, yeah, I think Spirit Box definitely made me think like, should I start learning how to scream? But I don't know if I could pull that off.
That would be very. I would say that'd be a large. I feel like it'd be a task you'd be up for, but I would say it's a very large task.
On top of
Consider
drumming, singing.
top of drumming and also singing. I feel like
All the way. If we're
it's
doing it,
already
like,
difficult. Yeah. I don't want to. I wouldn't. I don't want to say that I wouldn't enjoy it because I'd absolutely enjoy it. But I feel like I would already be stressed out like watching you do all this sort of stuff. So I feel like if I added something else to that list, then I'm only encouraging it, and I'm not trying to do that. So, but
Seen a guy drum while playing keys with one hand. So
Oh, is it the guy opening for Tool?
no, that guy does like everything.
Oh, there's this guy opening for Tool on their most recent tour, or the like tour coming up, and like he's just playing like 5 instruments himself.
Yeah, that's nuts.
That I forgot his name, man. I would give him a shout out if I remembered, but he was awesome.
I think is Anna. Anna, are you referring to Immortal Guardian? Is that the person you're referring to?
No, this
Okay.
was I grew up like more of like a local band I grew up listening to when I was like in high school. I think they were called Everybody Else.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I thought it was Immortal Guardian. They're like their one guitar. I don't remember what his name is, but shout him out anyway. He plays keys with one of his hands, and then his other hand is like his guitar hand. So he will literally be playing guitar and then also like playing piano at the same time. It's wild. So big salutes to Immortal Guardian. You make me not want to ever pick up that guitar hanging out over there ever again. I will, but I won't like it, because
I love when artists push boundaries, and like it's not the same traditional setup you see at a rock show, like do something different, surprise me, change it up. I think that's what's cool about artists today. You never know what you're gonna get. Take Sleep Token for example. Like they're mixing like R&B with metal and some jazz elements. Like that's how it's done.
Yeah, I did. It was the first date of their tour, so I got to experience it. Did you guys go to that tour at all or no?
Was trying to get tickets,
Oh,
couldn't make it happen. Couldn't make it happen.
I'm sorry. I wish you
Next
guys
time.
could have went. Yeah. Oh my God. It was a crazy experience. I'm just gonna leave it at that. I hope you guys get to see them because it is quite an experience. I've been doing this for quite a bit, and I've been in the scene for longer, and I hadn't walked out of a concert venue speechless in a long time, and I felt like that was the one time where I was just like, either it was speechless, and shout out to my best friend Daryl. He flew up from South Carolina and came with me, but like we were both like either he couldn't shut up about it, and then like I started talking about it, or we were both completely silent and we were just like, we just saw them. That's crazy, right? So big shout outs to Sleep Token. Would love for you guys to come back. I imagine based off of your touring, I feel like you probably will come back sooner than later. But the next question I have for you guys is, I know Sean said that he's not a big fan of cover songs, so I'm going to definitely put him on the spot by asking him this question. If you guys could pick a song to cover, what would it be?
Aside from Helena by Mike Kennedy?
Yes. Besides, yeah.
We've actually been talking about doing a 90s covers EP.
Ooh, okay.
She started convincing me more, and then I like the idea. It grew on me.
There you go. You just got to beat him down, You have to like chisel away. I got you.
People like the covers.
The people like them.
Sean says, "Is a man of the people." I got it. Yes.
Give the people what they want. It's all good. So yeah, maybe something. We have a few songs in mind. I think we wanted to do Spoon Man by Soundgarden.
Ooh, okay.
I actually really want to do that one. So maybe that one.
Anna, what's your choice?
What was my choice from those lists?
You had an Elliott Smith song, Needle in the Hay.
Yeah. I don't know if what we would do with that, but like Elliott Smith was one of my like biggest influences growing up. So
I have the list. Let me pull it up.
Definitely a 90s artist that I feel like you don't normally think of.
Yeah.
And then maybe like a Nirvana song.
We had Waterfalls by TLC on this list.
TLC Waterfalls.
Let's go.
Version.
Let's go.
I think we just revealed almost the entire 90s EP to you exclusively.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
And the last one will be Teardrop by Massive Attack.
Ooh, okay. I like that.
I'm not trying to make these,
I don't know if this is happening for sure, but You heard it first.
I heard it first.
You
I'm
heard it.
about it. I feel like, oh man, if I had to insert my opinion in on this '90s cover,
Yeah, we need some ideas.
I would love for you guys to cover like a '90s either like boys group or girls group. I feel like that'd be kind of interesting. I'm gonna
Spice
I'm,
Girls?
I'm gonna say it was
No.
either a Spice Girls or Destiny's Child. I feel like that would be pretty interesting.
Destiny's Child, I'd be down.
I
I
feel
I didn't really like Spice Girls as much, but
Fair
Destiny's
enough.
I could write some riffs to say my name. We can make it.
Oh, okay. I think Sean gave me my pick. I think that's what I would choose. But
That's the only Destiny's Child song I know. So.
it's a good one to know. I think arguably. So,
It's fun.
guys, if you have any suggestions for Satellite City, you can drop them in the comments. I can't guarantee they will do it because I don't force anybody to do anything. But a nice, polite suggestion might go a long way. So, just saying, drop your suggestions.
I started off on this podcast not wanting to do any covers, and now
I've broken you. I've done it. You're welcome, Anna. We're slowly hacking away. It just needed Anna's. This is just a large ploy that Anna and I have already been talking, and it's just an intervention. Yeah, this is actually an intervention right now. We're just recording it by happenstance. So
I'm glad you guys are honest with me.
Hey, this honesty is the best policy. So, but the next question that I have for you guys, and this one actually is pretty important. I saw in the little blurbs that I got from email, and I found out that you are a great cook. So I feel like this is a very appropriate question. What is your favorite food to eat? What's your go-to?
Sushi. Yeah.
Okay.
I've been making it more too at home.
Oh,
just
nice. Okay.
get our hands on like good like raw fish, but I love making it, and I think like Asian food in general is like our go-to.
Ooh.
It's just so good.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
But I didn't know they put that in there.
Your face when I said that, I'm totally gonna zoom in on that. I'm gonna.
You wrote that on my behalf, like without telling me.
I definitely did.
I was like, her face was like as if I like said something really terrible. You're like, wait, what? Who said this about me?
I just didn't know it was like a part of it.
I'm glad someone finally brought it up. I was waiting.
Yeah, there you go. It's I know so much about you guys already,
She really is though. She cooks a lot of different stuff.
I started this like TikTok thing where I was like picking an artist's favorite food, and I was like I was making it.
Oh.
But it like didn't pick up as much as I wanted. I kind of stopped, but
I'll go watch it.
Britney Spears, her favorite food was chili dogs, so I made chili dogs. And then Jack White like has his own guacamole recipe, so I like made that. But yeah, it was
so random. I'm gonna watch that. I'm going down the rabbit hole tonight. Like as soon as we get off, I'm gonna go down the Satellite Citi food rabbit hole. Shantz, what about you? What's your pick?
Favorite food?
Yeah.
I have to agree with sushi. We're both we're sushi addicts. I think we had it like 3 days in a row now. It might be a problem.
Respect.
But yeah, that's something that we're always down for. We also love Armenian food. We're Armenian. Traditional Armenian food is big for us. Yeah.
What if you could recommend an Armenian dish? What's like an Armenian dish that I cook? So I feel like I could be up for the challenge. What's a good Armenian meal that you feel like that I like above or like average cook could make?
I'm gonna say a funny response. It's gonna be meat. But
just meat.
There's a way that
I'll just get a piece of raw meat and just put it down. I was like, Armenian completed. Let's go. I did it.
What are you
guys?
saying?
I mean Armenian food.
Armenian barbecue is called
okay.
Horala. And the way they season it is like in this particular way, and you can go get it like raw meat seasoned in that way from like a bunch of places in LA. And you cook it over a charcoal grill, and it's mind blowing if you eat meat. I'm not sure.
Yeah,
Cool.
I'm a meat
I always
eater.
say Monty. It's
Ooh,
like a dumpling type of thing with like meat inside, like beef inside, and there's like a soup version or like one that you like just bake in the oven.
The
And
soup
it's bomb.
version is insane.
is awesome. Okay, I'm gonna have to
Yeah.
look it up now. I'll have to
Yeah,
make it, and then I'll make a TikTok for you guys. I'll be like, guys, hey,
Yeah.
how's it going? I'm making Satellite Citi's Armenian dish, raw meat, and these dumpling things.
Just me.
Just
Actually,
meat.
we do also eat raw meat. Bear with me. There's
It was a
dish-
joke. I didn't know you actually ate raw meat. That's crazy.
Yeah.
It's kind of like beef tartare.
Beef
Yeah, and it's
tartare. Okay.
more like Lebanese cuisine, not more Armenian, but Armenians like embrace it and also
I
eat
got
it.
you.
And
Yeah.
It's called chikufte. And it's delicious.
Okay. I don't know if I'll be that adventurous. Just give me one task at a time here. I don't know. Eating raw meat is. I'll eat
That's
raw
pushing the
fish
boundaries, I
all day,
understand.
every day. Don't get me wrong. I love some sushi. Don't get me wrong, but raw meat might be maybe a little over the edge. We'll figure it
When we
out.
hang out, if we ever hang out,
Okay.
we'll have you.
You
check
got
out.
it. We'll
Yeah.
do it up. I love it.
Just a little bit.
All right. Well, great picks, guys. As Asian myself, I can confirm sushi is delicious. So love that. The next question I have for you guys is, if you were to have a dream collaboration on an up and coming Satellite Citi track, who would you love to have on? I'm gonna make it a little bit more, possibly easier or difficult depending upon how you look at it. The first pick will be one that if you asked a good friend or somebody that you admire, that you're close with, that you're like wink wink, nudge nudge, you ask them that they might be interested in doing a collaboration, and what's the one that we're like manifesting? We're putting it out there in the universe.
Ooh,
So two answers. That if I wasn't clear.
that's a toughie. Well, the manifesting one, I know. For me, it would be really cool to have Courtney from Spirit Box sing on a track.
Fair.
Scream.
Or Scream.
Ooh,
Scream.
yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I would say Ollie from Bring Me the Horizon, because he's been doing a lot of like really cool collabs. So
Yeah.
that would be like
Manifesting.
And then the other one was like you're saying, like more like mid-level, or
Just if you know them, and like if you're good friends with them and you're like, hey, we really want to get you on the track, but like we haven't like officially asked. This is like, hey, we have in this interview with this guy that's like, kind of cool. So like, he's just saying you should do it.
There are a few local bands in our scene that we're really good friends with, and actually we just started talking to them about potentially doing some songs with them. I'll give them a shout out. One is a band called Chasing Desolation, and another band is a band called Against the Sun.
Ooh, okay.
Both great hard rock bands with some metal influences, and and the vocalists are fantastic.
yeah.
There we go.
We'd love to have them on a show. Yeah.
Well, guys, you heard it here first. If you'd love to see these collaborations, all four of them on one track, it'd be crazy. But like, we're gonna have it. We're gonna make it happen. So if you want to tag Satellite Citi, first of all, you got to go follow them on social media. That's like step number one. Step number two is tag them in your story and tag all of these amazing groups, and then type the word collab ? And I've been on the internet for long enough, so like, I think it's real, right? So if you want to just put it out there, just like a nice slight, like, a nice slight plug, that'd be kind of sick. Ollie's viewed my story once, so like I feel like I kind of know him. So
Amazing.
Ollie, thanks for watching the show. If you want to like work on a track with Satellite Citi, that'd be kind of amazing. So who knows? but I would
That'd be
like to
amazing.
believe that it's gonna happen. So let's make sure it happens. But the next question I have for you guys is my personal favorite. As I mentioned, I'm a huge nerd, so I love asking this question. If you guys could be a video game character, who would you be?
Ooh,
I'll pick mine.
who's that gonna be?
We've been playing Mortal Kombat a lot.
All
Let's
right.
go.
My character is Melina. So
Damn.
Wow.
All
All
right.
right. Going for
He's
the guttural
badass.
right there.
I've been a Mortal Kombat fan since I was 4 years old, and I'm 30
That's
years
kind of
old. Right?
wild. Same.
Yeah.
I am also 30, so yeah, I feel that.
Oh, nice, dude. Yeah, I think Kung Lao is the character I love in that series and franchise, and yeah, I'd be Kung Lao. I just don't want to die in every movie. You know,
That's fair.
or every game.
I think it's actually more badass that you were playing Mortal Kombat at 4 years old. I would be like, holy shit! Like
true.
this
That
should
might
not.
explain my adult anxiety. Who knows? Who knows?
I wasn't even. I think I was playing like Mario Kart when I was 4 years old. Like
People should not let their 4-year-olds
I
play
yeah.
Disclaimer on the podcast: do not let your 4-year-old play Mortal Kombat.
Hey, whatever. If that's what you want to do, if you want to teach your kid to be a Mortal Kombat warrior, respect. But I don't know if I'd personally do that. Start them off with like I don't know what's popular now, like Fortnite or something.
Yeah,
I
one
don't
of
know.
those. Spider-Man 2.
Spider-Man 2. Yeah, there you go. I love that. Good answers. Well, you guys both picked Mortal Kombat, which kind of scares me a little bit. I'm a little concerned now, but we're gonna take it easy after this. But the next question I have for you guys is: if you were to compile a dream tour lineup, including Satellite Citi, who would be on this tour?
So, do we have to make it make sense musically? Because that's a big one, right?
Do you care to elaborate, Sean?
Like, okay, so if I said Sleep Token, that's not gonna work. Just the genres are.
I'm gonna leave it up to your personal preference, but there is a guideline to follow. So you are wherever you want to place yourself in the lineup, but you have 4 other bands to choose from. So it's a 5-band bill total.
All right, so let's say we're opening. We're the first.
You do whatever you want. If you want to open, that's your prerogative. Hey,
Okay.
Damn.
Metallica's opening. No, I'm just kidding.
They're playing out in the parking lot before their show starts.
Okay, if we were opening, I would say Satellite first. Maybe what's another like a mid-tier cool band up and coming? Nothing More.
Oh, okay.
Maybe who's following Nothing More? Okay, Bad Omens after that.
Oh, okay, respect.
And then Spirit Box.
Oh, okay.
Who's turning up cohesive? Is this a cohesive lineup?
Isn't that 4 already? No.
No,
Satellite, Nothing More, Bad Omens, Spirit Box. You have one more.
Okay, and then I went Metallica.
Wow. All right. Okay. Anna, what about you? What are your picks?
Oh my god.
I feel
That's
like
a
I'm
good question.
I feel like I'm stressing Anna out. Every time I look over at her, she's just like,
Lists
Bro.
and planning. Like that's like his thing. Like he'll like
I love lists. Unrelated to my OCD. I swear it's not related. But I love
he
lists.
like loves writing his top movies, his top bands. Like I just suck at that. But I feel like what he said is pretty accurate. I'd be down for that tour.
Okay. Respect. I feel like you're only choosing that because you're like, man, I don't want to choose, and we're like married, so like we collectively share like a hive mind,
Sure, right now.
The hive mind thing that happens when you get married is so true. Because lately, I'll be saying something. She's like, I was like literally like thinking that sentence like word by word, and I was like, that's just fucking crazy. And that happens every day, every single day.
I don't know. I feel like that's shout out to my cat is not in my room right now, but my cat will like look at me, and it's weird because I feel like if anybody else saw it, would probably think I'm like on drugs or something, but like I will literally have a conversation with him. I'll be like, I'll come upstairs to my room and he'll be like meowing at me or whatever. And then I'm like, hey, how was your day? And then he'll be like, meow. And he'll like start talking back to me and we'll have like a full on like minute conversation. And I swear to God, if like my roommate across the hall or like somebody heard me, they probably think I'm like, I'm on drugs or something.
That's so
So
great.
that's like my, yeah. So
Oh man.
yeah, if anybody that winds up dating me, just remember I'm gonna be like, hey, how was your day, kid? And he's just like, meow, I'm doing great. So that's my story about sharing a hive mind with my cat. So that's not gonna be the title of this interview, but certainly a part of the conversation. So if you ever wanted to know something really deep seated about me, you hear it. You gotta hear it first. But speaking about lists, Sean, what is your favorite movie, favorite TV show?
Oh, favorite TV show is a recent favorite,
Ooh, okay.
and me and Anna rewatched this. Well, I had watched it when I was like much younger, and I mean Anna watched it with me because I didn't remember anything. It's called The Leftovers, and it was a show that aired from like 2014 to 2017 on HBO or something. It's one of the craziest shows I've ever seen, and it depicts mental illness in a very symbolic way. And I thought it was really cool and really smart. It kind of has the Avengers Endgame plot where half of the world has just disappeared, and people don't know why, and that's the plot.
Yeah, it's really good. It's
Interesting.
really good.
Yeah. Favorite movie is Arrival by Adams and what's his name? Jeremy Renner.
Yes.
Yeah. Favorite movie of all time for sure.
Anna, what about you?
Honestly, Leftovers is pretty up there for me now after watching it. We're almost done with Dark, and that's like gonna be in my top as well.
That show's been freaking me out, man.
It's really good. And then like I love Stranger Things. Like I know
Ooh.
everyone pretty much watches that show. So yeah, love that. Movie is tough to pick like one favorite movie for me.
I guess it. Guess your favorite.
You're gonna guess? Okay, guess.
Eternal Sunshine.
Oh yeah, that's one of my favorites. Eternal Sunshine was mine. Yeah, love that movie.
That's a good one. I can't agree with that one. That one chokes me up all the time. So there's some movies that I have on my list that I watched one time and it was so messed up in my head that I'm like I can't watch it again. I'll just savor the memory that I've seen the movie and that's it. Can't do it again. It's like Marley and Me. I like have a pet now. I'm like I can't watch that movie anymore because I have a pet and I'm like definitely don't want to see that happen. So
I've seen that movie and I'm purposely never gonna watch it because I have a dog.
I put Homeward Bound for him the other day. I don't know if you've seen that movie.
Yes,
like I grew up.
Oh no.
And he was like, I can't watch this, and he just turned it off. Like,
it really does.
Yeah, I was like, I can't do that.
It really is bad. I feel like I can't do it. I can't look at pet like movies the same way ever again because it's just like it's so fucked up because if you've lost an animal in your life, you're like, fuck, that's now gonna reel its head every time some type of like one of those movies comes up. So
can't imagine that. That's a deep loss, man. If anyone's lost a pet friend.
Oh, it's the worst. I hate it. But yeah, if you have pets, don't watch those movies. There should be like a list of like movies that you shouldn't watch if you have a pet. So those two movies, those two. No, X. Not watching those.
Finding Nemo's fine, Anna. we can get.
It's a Disney movie. I feel like they can't be too like egregious about like sadness. They're like their whole premise is like being happy. So I feel like they're like Finding Nemo is about as far as we could push the envelope. Like still have kids watch it and be like, oh yeah, this is fine. Marley and Me, no, they're like we're gonna definitely make you feel like shit after. Right. So shout outs to Marley and Me. Anyway, guys, the next question I have for you is, in your opinion, who puts on a great live performance in terms of the artists you've seen live?
Mm,
Ramstein.
Rammstein. I was literally gonna say mine right there.
I can't. That was and it's crazy because I could see both of you have like the glimmer in your eye that you're both gonna say the exact same thing. It was caught in 4K. It was great.
Yep. Yep.
I think those two, like, I love seeing them live.
Yeah.
I don't know who else you would
Bad
say.
Omens were really good live, and I saw them live once, and they were just so tight, and just they played so well, and the energy was so consistent. I really loved watching them live too.
Yeah, Noah, come on the show. Work with Satellite Cities. Come on. What are we doing?
We
Dude.
saw Mike Hem, and like they didn't really like do much like on stage. Like I feel like previous tours, when they were like more theatrical, he would like dress up. You know, he was changing his look for every show. It was like multiple nights in LA.
Like not a lot of
I
production
think like the
on the
night
stage.
before
Yeah.
he was in a cheerleading outfit, like the night before. But it was more like just their outfits, and like the stage was just like bare bones, but just the songs and like the performance was so good that it didn't even need
Right.
like all of that crazy
Being
production.
bare bones, the crowd was still like yelling the
Oh,
lyrics.
I'm sure. Yeah.
A
Yeah,
minute,
it's
and
fun.
that's how I know you're a good band. Like you haven't released an album in like what, like freaking 15 years, and people still come out and like go crazy at your shows. That's amazing.
It is pretty wild. I kind of I'm upset because I grew up in New Jersey, so my chem is from New Jersey, and I so wish that I could turn back time and like as being a teenager and going to like a my chem show in Jersey. Oh,
That would've been sick.
every time I think about that, that like eats away at my soul just a little bit because I'm like, damn, that would be so cool. So, oh man,
Yeah,
that
they're
makes me
fantastic.
sad. Wish I could do it. Who knows? I know a couple friends that like have seen like my chem in like club rooms like in New Jersey, like before they
Wow.
were like massive, and I was like, I've never been the jealous type of person, but like I want to strangle your neck so bad right now. I can't even tell you. Like that would be such an amazing experience. I wouldn't actually do it, so don't TOS me YouTube, but I was not happy about it. That's all I'm gonna leave it at. So, but yeah, my chem, fantastic band. Shout outs. But the next question I have for you guys: if you were trapped on a desert island for the next month, and there was one album you could bring with you to listen to, what album would it be?
I'm gonna say an album called Folklore by a band called Opeth.
I like that. Okay.
They're Swedish. They started off as a death metal band, and then they changed their sound to like a 70s prog.
Yep.
Uh,
Exactly.
but-
Yep.
Complete 180. And that was the first album where they changed their sound. And there are just so many things, like cool things to catch in every song, no matter how many times you re-listen. That it's just such an interesting record to me. One of my favorite albums ever.
Mine would be, I think Swell Season. I think the album's called Strict Joy. And it's like a duo. I don't know if you've heard of them.
I have not. No.
Glenn Hansard is the singer, and Marquetta is the woman that sings on it, and they're just like, it's just like relaxing. And I feel like if I was stuck on an island, I probably wouldn't be wanting to listen to like super heavy music over and over again. But yeah, I just love the way their voices like harmonize, and it's such a good album. Like every song on that album is so good.
That's fair.
I agree with that. It's a great album.
I thought for
It would
sure.
steal-
I'm not even gonna lie. I thought for sure Sean like paused and he said folklore, and I was like, is he gonna say Taylor Swift? I like
Oh, no.
For a hot second, I like he paused and I was like, is he actually gonna say Taylor Swift? And then he's like, Opeth, and I was like, oh yeah, they also really
That's a record named Folklore. Yeah.
yeah. So I was like, wow,
Oh,
that is
man.
quite. You just said folklore, so I was like, wait, is it like? I was like, which folklore is it? Which one is he gonna listen to? I was,
edit this so he does say Taylor Swift.
So when I say Opeth, you gotta ad lib and
I
say
will.
Taylor
Yeah,
Swift.
Taylor
or-
Swift. Yeah. I didn't think. I thought he would. I like because I looked him dead in the eyes, and I thought for sure he was gonna say Taylor Swift, and he did not. So, I'm glad you
Dang it.
didn't. No offense to Taylor Swift, but that was genuinely what my brain went to immediately. And then I was like,
I'm
wait a
gonna go
second.
listen to that folklore now and see how I like it. Let's see.
See how it stacks up. I mean, you got
That might be
Opeth
the
and
next
Taylor Swift.
folklore that I bring to a desert island. Who
Maybe it
knows?
might. Maybe you might reverse your answer, and it might actually be Taylor Swift. Who knows? So we live
I'll
in an
get back. I'll get
it'll be
back
an
to
alternate universe. But that was awesome. But the last thing, guys, is my question that I round off all of my interviews with. If you like what you've seen so far with Satellite City, please check the links below. They'll tell you where they can find you after this. But wanted to know, because we basically talked about your whole storyline, what you guys have been through, obviously mental health being a, crucial component of what you guys do. But oftentimes when I have guests on and when I talk to different artists, I always love to know why they are passionate about making music, because it's expensive, it's time intensive, it's blood, sweat, and tears go into it. Maybe raw meat, I don't know. You guys are Armenian, so it could be raw meat. Beats me. But like,
you
but like, what why do you guys do it, and why do you wake up being like, I want to put out music, I want to be able to share um my journey with other people. I feel like that's something that makes me resonate more with artists that I have on. So why is it important to you guys?
like there's multiple reasons for me.
Yeah,
Go for
I
it.
I feel like there's it's just like something we have to do. Like it's not a choice almost. Like it is like
Sure.
we
Yeah.
just do it because like without it, like it's hard to function almost. Like it is like a huge form of therapy for me, like writing music, playing music, listening to bands I like, and um yeah, it's like a way for me to get all my thoughts out and then feel good, and then also like hope that other people will hear it and feel good. um it's our way to like kind of leave something behind, but I don't know what you were gonna say.
Yeah, no, I was gonna echo similar response. Spread the mental health awareness amongst whoever's struggling. And also we enjoy the journey. The journey's hard, but it's fun. Um, I feel like you're right. It's expensive. It's hard work. There's like 100 layers. You need to be your own marketing person, your own manager, your own booking person. And you need to get good at those things if you want to succeed. And learning those skills, it's hard, but it's fun. And I feel like, without it, we don't really have a goal. And having that goal is something we look forward to when we wake up every day.
Yeah, no, I think that's extremely commendable. And I think for me, it's like, I always love feeling like rejuvenated when I have guests on. Like, there's something about it inherently that I'd imagine very similarly to why you guys make music. I love being able to talk about music and share that experience with other people, and being able to share my passion for finding these, underground groups to have on, and really highlight their talent and skill. Because I mean, realistically, I probably don't have enough hours in the day or in my lifetime to be able to cover every band that exists from now until when I die. Um, but I think it's an important level of finding artists that really connect with you and really like show that, if you're working hard for something, that, you can be able to show people, different layers of what you do, and why it's a personal experience for everybody. And so I love the fact that you guys are continuing doing it, and obviously, you know, best affirmations going further with the group, because I'm excited for the EP that is to come. They did not give me a release date on it, so I imagine it's still very much up in the air a little bit right now. But um, I'm very stoked either way, and I'll be giving it a listen for sure. But for people who are excited to hear what is coming next, where can they find Satellite City? What do you guys have coming up in the up and coming future? And anything else you would like to plug about your band?
Yeah, you can find us on all socials, Instagram.com/Satellite City. Same
Yeah,
with TikTok.
just at Satellite Citi, across all socials. And we have this mental health EP coming out. We also have a comic book coming out with an EP next.
Oh, very
So
sick.
definitely look out for that.
Very cool. And one last question I have for you guys is, I don't typically like asking this question, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Where did you guys get the name from? I feel like the way it's like sectioned out is very interesting. So, how did you guys come across this name, or what was the process for that?
Um, it was just us going back and forth on song, like on band names, and I was listening to music at the time, like just driving around. I was listening to like Elliott Smith and Metric, which is like super like random. They don't have anything to do, but Metric has a song called Satellite Minds, and I was and like I think Elliott Smith's song was, I can't remember now which song I was listening to, but basically I was thinking of two songs from two different bands, and I thought of like it'd be cool like to have like a world where people communicate with their satellite minds. And I was like, what do you
Ah,
think of Satellite City? And he liked it, and yeah, we just went with it.
I dug
interesting.
it.
And city, just for everyone's clarification, it's CITI and not CITY. If you type in city like a city, yeah, I don't know what you're gonna get. So just
I'm
just check
weird.
just check the links in the description. That's the best way to find out about the group and where you can find them out on social media. Make sure to go give the food video from Anna some love, because I know I'm going to. I need to know about what special white stripes guacamole stuff. I need to know. I'm intrigued. So if you
For
can go.
cooking references, you gotta
Yeah,
know.
I gotta know what the secret sauce is that Jack's putting into this guacamole. What makes it more different than any other recipe I've seen online? Does
Why do
he
you think
throw
Jack White is a good guitar
he
player?
he just throws his guitar into it? Actually, it's that, yeah. So who knows?
Yeah.
I don't know. You're gonna have to find out. You can check their TikTok and all that stuff. All of the links are in the description. If you like this interview, share, like, and subscribe. It goes a long way. Want to give you a huge shout outs to Editor again. She's awesome. Shout outs to Costa Nostra. They're great as well. And the biggest shout outs to Satellite City for coming on and joining me tonight.
Thank
Thank you
you,
so
man.
much.
Appreciate you.